CRD 2.1, naming a polynomial. A what? Um, you'll be happy you're out of chapter 1. Chapter 2 is a little bit more manageable and a little bit easier. You've been using polynomials for a long time already. So we're going to just put a name to it, and so we can start talking specifically about what's so special about a polynomial. So the definition of a polynomial is a mathematical expression made up of coefficients, constants, variables, exponents, operations. It will never include a term with division by a variable. Okay, so I've given 3 here. Okay, 2x squared plus 3 halves x minus 12. Okay, that is a polynomial. Okay, 2 is a coefficient. 3 halves is a coefficient. What else? Constants. Negative 12 is a constant because it's constantly negative 12. X is a variable. X is a variable. Exponents. Squared, that's an exponent, that's an exponent of 1. And the operations, I have addition, I have multiplication, I have division, and I have subtraction. Okay, so that's just a quick summary of what it is, but you've been working with these for a while now. So hopefully those words ring a bell. Coefficient, constant, variable, exponent, operation. This one here, you see how I have 3 halves x, and then over here I have 3x over 2. That actually says the exact same thing. The x really is x over 1, and I can multiply 3 times x and get 3x, and 2 times 1, its denominator, and just get 2. These are both polynomials, okay? This one here is not a polynomial, and the reason why is because it follows the second statement here. It will never ever include a term with a division by a variable. And look, I'm dividing by x. So this is not a polynomial. Okay? You may have to deal with things like this, but it's just not going to be in that category. Okay, so there's some words that we need to make sure you know, and I mentioned some of them in the last term, but I have in the last slide, but I have some other words that maybe I didn't mention. Okay, degree, the highest exponent. So if I look at these 3 polynomials, all 3 of these are indeed polynomials. The degree is going to be the highest exponent you find in the whole problem. So the degree here, I have x to the 3rd, I have x to the 1st, and here I don't even have an x. So the degree here is 3. This is the 3rd degree. This one here, this I have the 3rd power. This I have no power at all. So the degree here is also 3. Here I have just 5x. The degree here is going to be 1. This is a ghost exponent, but the degree is 1. Okay, terms, separated by addition or subtraction. So here I have a term, here I have a term, and here I have a term. So there are 3 terms in that polynomial. In this one I have 2 terms because it's just that addition sign. And here I have 1 term. So terms are separated by addition or subtraction. Okay, next, coefficient. I'm going to erase that. Coefficient. Coefficient is the number preceding the variable. So in this case, negative 2 is the coefficient. In this case, negative 3 halves is the coefficient. In this case, negative 12 is just a constant. As you'll see here, constants are numbers that stand alone without a variable. So the coefficient is like the co-pilot, goes along with the variable. The constant is just constantly by itself. It's a number and it's solidly a number. It doesn't have any varying or variable with it. Okay? Negative 2x to the 3rd plus 3. So the coefficient here, there's a coefficient right here, negative 2, and a constant here, positive 3. Okay, here the coefficient is 5, and there is no constant because constant is 0 if you wanted to say anything about a constant. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. So the way you name polynomials is basically by their degree and their number of terms. If it's the 1st degree, it's considered linear, and you've seen that word before. If it's the 2nd degree, it's considered quadratic, which also should trigger the word parabola for you. Okay, linear is the same as straight line, quadratic is the same as a parabola. Cubic is going to be the 3rd degree. fourth degree is fourth degree. Fifth degree is fifth degree. Okay, great. Number of terms. If it has one term, it's considered a monomial. If it has two terms, it's considered a binomial. If it has three terms, it's considered a trinomial. If it has four terms, it's a four-term polynomial. If it has five terms, it's a five-term polynomial. So what does all this mean? Well, basically, it just means I'm going to be able to name each of these polynomials. So I'm going to take a look at the first one here. I have negative 2x to the third plus 3. The degree is 3 because of that. The number of terms is 2. So the degree is 3. The number of terms is 2. So I can call this a cubic binomial, which is hard for me to do. So I'm going to write it cubic binomial. Still didn't get it right. There we go. Cubic binomial. Okay. Easy, right? All right, let's look at the next one. All right, so my degree here is a 1. My number of terms here is 1. So this is a linear monomial. So we're going to write it linear monomial. Great. Last one. You try it. How many degrees? You're right, I hope. Quadratic. And number of terms, 3. Trinomial. And this is the kind you'll be using the most, actually, a quadratic trinomial. But you'll see, I'll write this one down too. Quadratic trinomial. Okay, and that's it. So make sure you have this written down into your notes to self.